Hey everybody, and the joys of summer. My lens is fogging up. Welcome back to VW Family Farm. My name is Andrea, and we are heading out to the high tunnel to pick some tomatoes. The end goal is to can some tomatoes and some tomato sauce. And if you've been around here a while, you know I have canned for years. And I canned tomato sauce the last couple years. I have videos on it. It works okay, but this year I was determined to do something a little different. So this year I was really selective on what seeds I sprouted and just what varieties I grew of everything. I really wanted my garden to be productive this year. And so I ordered from several different companies my seeds, and I ordered specific varieties tailored to what I wanted to do with them, and it has worked out fantastic. So today I want to answer the question, if you're like me and you've tried in the past to make tomato sauce or even thicker tomato paste or something like that. I have done that with just plain old tomatoes. I just plant any varieties I wanted and I would make sauce out of those. And I would try to just cook them and cook them and cook the water off. And then sometimes I would take an immersion blender or just a blender and blend everything up, the skin and the seeds and everything. And that has worked pretty well. But I just never could, no matter how long I cooked it, I never could get it as thick and the consistency that I wanted. So this year I set out to grow varieties for sauce and for paste. And I also grew slicers. So we're gonna put it to the test. We are going to pick sauce tomatoes, which are generally gonna be like your Roma type varieties. And then I'm going to just pick the rest of my tomatoes and I'm gonna cook those down as well. And we are gonna see, did it really make a difference what variety of tomato you use to make sauce? So let's get started. So first things first, I have a couple different varieties of sauce tomatoes. And as you can see in my high tunnel, this is our new high tunnel. This is our first year growing in it. We have bamboo strung down there, and I took twine that then when the season's over, I have those kind of stood up with that twine. I wrapped it around them, and as they would grow taller, I would continue to wrap. It has worked really well, but we ran out of bamboo down here at the end, and I thought, nah, we'll just let these do what they want. And it happened to be some of my sauce tomatoes. So down here, it's a mess. They're growing all over the ground because tomatoes are actually a vine, and so they will vine along the ground. And it looks like a mess, but these are the San Marzano variety, and I've tried those several different years before, and this year, letting them trail along the ground, they've done better than ever. You can see it kind of looks like a mess, but there is literally tomatoes everywhere. I've already picked out of just, let's see, I probably have 4 of these plants, and I've already picked a whole bushel. And these are not huge tomatoes, so they're like a Roma type. So to pick a bushel of those is a lot of tomatoes. So we're gonna pick these, and then we're gonna go down through here and we're just gonna pick all our other varieties. I have one more sauce variety, and if I get any off of that, I'll show you what it is as well. I ran out of time yesterday to get all the tomatoes picked, and then this morning I was racing a storm trying to get everything done so I could get back in the house and work on things inside. I made it, but I didn't get any more footage of picking tomatoes. But we are about to get busy processing them. I'm gonna give you some tips. I'm gonna show you, does it really matter what type of tomatoes you use? So let's get to that. But right before we do, I have something I wanna show you guys that I think you'll be interested in. So if you're wondering what that is liquid gold. That is honey we harvested from our hives right here on our farm. We're hoping to get another harvest this fall, but that's never guaranteed. So that is our honey crop for this year. By the time you see this video, it will be up on our website. You can order it. It is in 2-pound plastic bottles. Got to put some stickers, labels on those. and they're ready to ship out. So it will not last long. I say this every year, and it never fails. Someone asked me this in like December if they can get honey like for holiday presents, or just maybe they've run out by then. It is a seasonal thing, so what we have is what we have, and it will be what we have until next year, like I said, unless we get a fall harvest. So I always encourage people, if you like honey and you like, you know, honey from your favorite farms or locally or whatever you're doing, make sure you stock up, because it may not be there when you run out and need some more. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is get some water started boiling. You can see I have this pot here that has this handy insert that's full of holes. If you don't have one of those, use any type of pot. Any pot will work. It's just you are gonna have to scoop your tomatoes out of the pot when you get ready to take them out. This makes it easy. You can kind of just lift them out. I scored this at a yard sale. If you'll watch out for these. I don't know what the official name is. Someone told me they're actually for boiling pasta. I don't know, but I just know if you find a pot that has an insert that has holes in it, scoop that thing up because it's so handy. We are going to get the skins off of these tomatoes. It's going to be so easy, and we're going to lose a lot less tomatoes than if I was peeling them by hand. I don't know about you, but I lose some of the tomato when I'm trying to peel by hand. So first things first, get your water on to boil, and then we'll prepare the tomatoes. So I have a half bushel of just regular tomatoes, like slicer tomatoes, just medium and large size, all kinds of regular tomatoes, I guess. And then I have a quarter of a bushel of these. These are San Marzanos. And I said I was going to show you if I had any ox hearts. This is like what an ox heart looks like. So as I come across those in the side of the sink that has the rest of the tomatoes in it, I'm going to probably put those over with the sauce tomatoes, because ox hearts, San Marzanos, Amish paste, all of those are good for making sauce. So I'm actually using these big roaster pans. I'm going to do one with the regular tomatoes and one with the paste tomatoes. I've done this. This will be the third time this year. It's so easy. I can get these tomatoes ready and put into these roasters and cook them low and let them really cook out some of the liquid. And plus, it's really handy if I'm not ready to can them right then. I can get them in there. I can turn it down. I can let them, you know, kind of simmer all night. Just however it works out with my schedule. So I'm in no way advertising these. I'm just telling you, I've gotten 2 of these over the years, and they really come in super handy when you're canning. So while we're getting the water boiling, I'm going to go ahead and get these paste tomatoes ready. Now, I'm not going to take the peeling off of these. I'm actually just going to split these in half, and then I'm going to show you what these look like. The reason these make such good salsa paste, as you can see, there's minimal seeds, and they're just not as juicy in here. I could squeeze it in. They're still juicy. They're just not as juicy. All I'm going to take out is this core right here. I don't know if I can even do this where y'all can see it. But I'm going to trim just that much off. And I'm going to put the rest of that just right into the roaster. Skin, seeds, and all. Now, obviously, if you don't want seeds in your tomato sauce, maybe you have a condition like diverticulitis or something like that to where you can't have seeds, then you would definitely want to de-seed these, which would not be hard. It's just not that big of a deal to me, so I'm going to leave them in there. If you don't want, you're going to eventually blend these up if you don't want the skins in there. Again, doesn't bother me at all because they're going to be blended. You're not going to get a bite of skin, but if you have some sort of digestive issue, you don't want that in there, you could definitely do the method we're going to do here in a minute with the other tomatoes and take the skin right off. So this is going to be a small batch of sauce. I have done batches 3 or 4 times this size this year, but I needed to pick these today just for my schedule. Wanted to show you guys how it turns out. And so this is what we're doing. Normally I have a lot bigger batches. You can always put a little water in there to make sure these don't stick. Tomatoes will stick at the very beginning as their juices are still coming out of them. So you have to be careful of that. I'm not doing that because that kind of defeats the purpose when you're wanting to wind up with something as thick as possible. So I'm just going to keep an eye on it, keep it stirred. I sprinkled some dehydrated garlic in there. You could also roast your tomatoes for a bit in the oven with some olive oil before you start this. And in fact, I may sprinkle some olive oil on there right now. But you can do any number of things. I'm just going with good old tomatoes and garlic and salt this time. The first batch I did this year, I added basil. That turned out really well. So you can just use your imagination. Now we're going to get started while those are roasting, dipping these others. This is just about to boil. All I'm going to do is I'm going to load up the basket and I'm going to put it down in there for about 30 seconds. You don't want your tomatoes to get hot because then they're hot to handle. I've seen people do it for longer and then have to put them in bowls of ice water, and that's just an extra step. When if you go ahead and get your water hot, it really only takes a few seconds to get them to where we always called them their jacket would just slip off. So we're gonna get busy doing that. So if you can see this one right here, you can see it's starting to already kind of peel itself. You're done at that point. You need to pull them out. So now that we have dipped all of them, we are just simply going to take them. We're going to put something in our sink to catch the scraps. You can compost the scraps, feed them to an animal. We're going to cut them. The easiest way is cut them in half so that you can see the core. Because if not, if you just try to whack the core off with them whole, you'll wind up losing way more tomato than if you just open them up and see how much tomato I actually lost and see the skin just basically fell off. I don't know how well y'all can see that. I'm going to adjust the camera and do another one to make sure you can see this. Then I'm just going to cut it. No rhyme or reason because they're going to cook down. So just, you can throw them in there. Half the tomato, you can cut them up. They'll cook easier if you do. But let me make sure y'all saw that. So this is the other half. You're just going to cut the core out. Outside slips right off. If there's like a spot that is connected or a bad spot, just go ahead and use your knife to get that off. Easy as that. Let's try another one so I can prove to you it's not a fluke. Okay, and when you cut the little core out, a lot of times the skin will just start to come with it. And you basically lose nothing of the tomato. It's really amazing. So once you get them all in the roaster pan, you're just going to let that cook for a while. Depending on your schedule, you might turn it down on low and let them simmer for a while. You might turn it up and go ahead and get them done. That's going to be your personal decision. I have done both. Today, I'm going to go ahead and cook them not quickly, but I'm going to go ahead and get this job done because I want you guys to see the end result. Just in that amount of time, probably 15 minutes that I was getting those tomatoes cut up, the first batch that I started that was the sauce tomatoes and the garlic have been roasting, and you can see the garlic has kind of swelled up in there because it was actually dehydrated. So that's what the white is in there. Those are really getting good and cooking. And so we're just going to let these cook for a bit. When you're trying to make something thick, obviously the less lid, the better. You might need a lid on it to get it steaming a little bit, but then you might want to take the lid off. You might want to caulk the lid where it can evaporate some of the liquid. That will help you get a thicker end result. These have been simmering a while. I'm going to show you what they look like, kind of show you the difference, and then we're going to get ready to jar them up. So I'm actually going to use an immersion blender on both pans of these. You could also scoop them out. I've done this year, in fact, and put them in a blender and then just poured them back in here. Either one works fine. This one just seems to be less mess because it's just, you just put it in there and blend it up right in the pan and you're done. So I'm actually going to kind of blend up, not as finely, the tomatoes, not the sauce tomatoes, even though I'm basically canning those for like soups and chilies and stuff. But I want to show you guys the difference. So I'm going to blend them as well. So these are the sauce tomatoes. I'm going to stir them, try to give you guys a good look. They do have some liquid, you can see, but it's not near as much liquid as the other pan. It's going to fog up the lens, so I don't know how well y'all are going to be able to see. I'm going to get this immersion blender in here and see if I can show you guys a little bit of it blending. So I got this blended and you can see it's pretty thick. Now I could keep cooking this and almost cook it down to a paste, But that is a pretty good consistency for sauce. Now I'm going to blend the other one. I want to show you it before I start blending. You can see how much juice is down in here. There is a lot. And if I just kept cooking these, it would just get more and more and more. It's because they're just a completely different type of tomato, and they just produce a lot of juice when you cook them. All right, so I did not just blend these to death because I don't want it to just turn out to be just tomato juice like you would drink. I wanted some tomato pieces in here, but you can see this is just, it's very liquidy. So I'm gonna jar up one of each of these and let you see the difference. So this is just the tomatoes, the regular tomatoes. I'm gonna leave about 1/2 inch head space there. And this is our roasted garlic tomato sauce. And as this cools off here after I can it and it cools off, this will get even thicker. It's just, I hope you can see it's a completely different consistency. And like I said, the more you keep cooking this, I just don't have time today, but my larger batches I've already done is even way thicker than this. So to answer the question I asked at the first of the video, it definitely does make a difference what type of tomatoes you start with based on what you're wanting to do with them. So I've got my canner here heating up. I am gonna water bath can these. This is not a canning lesson video. I do have one of those, I'll link here. It was canning green beans, and then you can go back and watch that on exactly how to can. But I'm gonna get these canned and then I'm gonna put them in the water bath canner for 40 minutes just to make sure they seal. Tomatoes have enough acidity. Some people don't even water bath, but I am gonna water bath can these for 40 minutes just to ensure that they seal and stay sealed. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching, and go check out that honey over on the website, and we'll see you later. God bless.